Thanks everyone for joining to watch the second episode of Talking Teapots, which is our show all about Immortal Gates of Pyre, the game updates, the tournament results, and sometimes even interviews with special guests for the new RTS Immortal Gates of Pyre. So we're actually going to kick off this episode with a special guest, Hydra, who is going to chat to us a bit about his experience in RTS and Immortals and get into some cool stuff. So welcome to Talking Teapots. Why don't you tell us
again.
Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a StarCraft 2 semi-pro player, playing for Team Super at the moment. Yeah, and I play Immortal. I won the last pre-alpha tournament and the first alpha monthly, and yeah, that's basically it.
Awesome. And what got you into competitive RTS?
I started playing Brood War at like a young age because of my dad. I started playing StarCraft 2 in 2019 maybe. Because school was kind of easy for me, and uh, I'm more of an inside person. I played a lot of games. I got better pretty quickly. Started playing competitive StarCraft 2 in 2020, I think. Yeah, from there it was a rough time because in StarCraft 2 it's very hard to improve, very hard to make a career. I kind of peaked in 2021, where I got into DreamHack closed qualifiers, beat a bunch of good players. Um, I won some weeklies, like a couple tournaments, and in 2022, I'm doing an internship in software developer, so I'm having a lot less time to actually play. So StarCraft 2 has been a bit of a dip for me, but yeah, I really enjoy Immortal. It's less time taking to stay good at it, if that makes sense, than StarCraft 2. Yeah, that's basically it. How I got into
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. So that's a pretty short rise, time period. In I guess in the scheme of how long SC2's been around. So I think that's super cool. Cool that there's new people who are kind of coming in and getting good at the game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and cool that you're doing an internship as a software developer as well. There's like a whole side story. I work in the software industry as well. But anyway, that's probably not so pertinent to this podcast, but we should chat about that at some point.
Yeah.
So what got you into Immortal then? How'd you find out about the game?
Uthermal got me into it. We're pretty close. I played his tournament that he hosted. I played on LAN event that he hosted. He was like, "Hey, there's a new RTS called Immortal. It's very new, still in development stage." He was like, "Yeah, you want a key? You want to play a bit?" So I started playing, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's how I got started.
How long ago was that?
Um, I think like a year ago, maybe like half a year.
Wow, so the game would have looked very different back then.
Yeah. We only had one race when I started playing. Only a couple actually meta builds that were in the game, and it was very one-dimensional.
Wow, cool. So what over that time, I guess, what do you think's been the most interesting thing for you, I guess, seeing it develop?
Um, I think the maps are really beautiful, beautiful done. Um, all the abilities, the new abilities, makes the game a lot more fun. A lot more opportunities for a lot of strategies to be made. Um, And I guess I really like playing a game as well where I can voice my opinion and help develop the game by playing it.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people appreciate that too, just like the level of openness and just willingness for Sunspear and the folks to kind of answer questions and that kind of thing. Yeah, it's super cool. So when you think about, obviously you played SC2 professionally. When you think about Immortal and kind of the competitive scene, I guess if you want to call it that, at this very early stage, what are the kind of like key differences that you see, kind of both in the scene and maybe in the game when you think about it from like that competitive lens?
Um, well, StarCraft 2 is obviously a lot more active. You have a lot more weeklies, a lot more opportunities to play and stuff. Hopefully, Immortal will rise to that as well. Um, yeah, like getting more, how do you say it? Like attention. Um, obviously, the game is in very early stage, so it's probably not like a priority. Um, but like the more kind of alpha trials we have, the more like tournaments, the more hype we get, the more people we get, the more people will develop new strategies, new meta builds, and yeah, like I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. And when you think about maybe like the game itself and like the gameplay or the design that we have so far, like what's like a couple of things that you think is like really awesome, and maybe a couple of things where you're like, I don't know about this.
Um, I really like that the game has abilities like global abilities. It sets it apart from other RTS very well. Um, I do think it's going to be a bit hard to balance it because of how many immortals and how many factions the game wants to bring to life. Um, I really like the pyre camp aspect of it, where you're forced to go on the map in the middle, take fights, look for opportunities, instead of just having only one goal in the game, and which is to kill your opponent. And in Immortal, um, you can't necessarily kill your opponent, but you have to do it gradually over time by outplaying them in different kinds of things in the game.
Yeah, awesome. I totally agree. I think like the way it makes you so much more active is just interesting. Um, and what's like at the moment when you look at the game or at the meta, like what do you think's like at the moment holding it back, or that you're just not super keen on?
Um, I think it's holding it back by only having two factions. I think a third faction will add a lot more variety. Um, I would really like some more 1v1 maps because it has been primarily focused on 2v2. Um, yeah, and a bit more like frequent balance changes maybe, or have like a test team or like a group of the most top players talking with each other and suggesting fixes or changes to like certain units or abilities.
Yeah, awesome. Like it's a advisory council for of competitive players, something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, cool. Um, Speaking of 1v1 maps, have you had a chance to have a look at the concept one that we've got? Yeah, I call it a concept because you can't really play it, but
I've looked at it a little bit, but I haven't like tested stuff on it. Um, the map looks pretty open. Um, there are a lot of exploitable things still on the map, which needs to be fixed. But I'm hoping soon we can actually play test it and like point these things out, tell them to the developers, and hopefully they can change it quickly.
yeah, yeah. I'm just excited that one's coming. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, yeah, me too.
Yeah. Um, so then I did want to chat a little bit about your run in the Alpha Trials, which was a few weekends ago now. Um, that
Hmm.
Alpha Trials, anyone who didn't catch it at the time, was the first kind of like prize money tournament for Immortal. Um, and yeah, I was interested in kind of two parts. So, kind of what was your experience kind of leading up to it? Like, what did you do? Was there any particular like prep you did, or like strategies you had in mind, and then just like kind of like how was your experience through that tournament?
Leading up to it, I practiced a little bit of like walling and strategies that I wanted to execute. Um, there's not too much to practice because there's not too much knowledge about the game yet, so we don't have like really specific like build order counters or things to do. So most of the time it's just playing on the fly, like being adaptive in tournaments, especially being adaptive against players. Like, is one player known to be like a cheeser? You kind of prepare for that. You look around the map. Um, but yeah, leading up to the tournament, I didn't really practice that much because like you can't really practice except for like those things I said, like playing the player basically instead of playing the game. Um, my experience in the tournament was it was very long. It was like an 8-hour tournament. It was very tiring. Um, but I think it was very fun for sure. Played a lot of different players, saw a lot of different like ways they play, like different strategies. Um, yeah, and yeah, I just really enjoyed the tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. And when you were saying like kind of like part of it is understanding the players and the cheese, was there any particular players that you had in mind when you were trying to like think through, okay, who do I really need to get on top of scouting because they might pull some shenanigans out?
Well, in normal games, I'm like very lazy, so sometimes I don't scout stuff like that. But in the tournament, I always scouted against every player, even against people that are known to be more defensive. Um, but you're more prepared like mentally against certain players. Like for example, I thought it was Shadow Murloc, which I know to be like a very one base, two base heavy aggressive player. Um, so you're like mentally ready, like, oh, I'm scoring this. You have like almost 0 second reaction time that you really immediately know what to do. But yeah, so as Magic was saying in the chat, it was very long tournament. Like 7 hours is a very long time to be constantly playing. Um, so maybe at like the later stages, it was also um, players being a little bit tired as well, playing a little bit less good than they would normally do. So it was also a test of like endurance, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, makes sense. So, speaking of magical, he did manage to knock you into the lower bracket towards the end of the run. I'm wondering, like, when you think about that series, first in the winners bracket and then in the grand final, what do you think?
Well,
Yeah, how'd it
I
go?
have a very broad opinion about how the game played out because he beat me by abusing a bug, um, which I'm not blaming Magical, but it was a bit of a drama for sure. Um, I don't think I deserve to go in the lower bracket there. Um, yeah, I mean there's nothing really to be said about it. I just disagree with the decision.
Yeah, fair enough. When you think about the series more broadly, kind of, I guess aside from that, how did you like, was it different tactics or like ways of thinking of approaching between the two different sets, or did it end up still just being the same kind of approach when you were going into it, I
I
guess?
think me and Magical are both players that can play very aggressive and very defensive, so it wasn't really you can't really prepare for each other. But I know Magical likes to play a lot of Hunter into like the Spellcaster, the Dread Sister, and he doesn't really play like a mech that all often. So I kind of prepared for that a bit. Um, I also played Aru, I think, against him. Like we both went ham into bringing different strategies against each other, which was really cool to see. Like I think we saw all Immortals played between us, like Sol versus Mala, and then he played Mala against Orzum, and then I think I played Ayari against Ayari or something. Yeah, it was just really cool to see like a proper best of 5 and all Immortals used, which I think the game should be.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And just really exciting matches to watch too, at least as a viewer catching up later. Yeah, but you did end up managing to take it out and win the tournament, which is super exciting. I guess I'm imagining you're probably looking forward to more if there are more to come.
Yeah, I'm super excited for the next one.
Awesome.
Whether it be 1v1 or 2v2, I have some strategies planned for the 2v2. If it's 1v1, I will probably start practicing a bit. Hopefully, we get to know whether it's a 1v1 or a 2v2 soon, so we can start preparing a little bit. Yeah, like I'm really excited to play and hopefully win again.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll see, mate. All chat esports. Let's do it. Killer. I'm very excited to see your 2v2 strategies, though, like for sure. I think that would be
Yeah, they're gonna be sick.
awesome. That would be really fun to watch. Cool. Well, thank you so much. I just have one more question, but yeah, thank you so much for spending the time and coming to chat with us. What I would like to end on, I suppose, is like, what's one thing that you think might surprise the folks in the community who have been playing with you? You've been in the alpha for a while. What's something? Can be anything. Doesn't like very open question. But what do you think's something that would surprise folks?
I guess the amount of practice. Like people would expect me to practice a lot, but I'm a player that like thinks about stuff a lot, but doesn't like actually practice a lot, I guess. So it's a lot of thinking ahead and using the time like properly and very good.
Awesome. There you go. Yeah, I would have definitely assumed that you spend a lot of time practicing. So yeah, that's a good one. I guess it sounds like you kind of do a lot more focused thinking and then practice on what you've already kind of thought through rather than doing just lots and lots of repetition without really much of a plan.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining. It's been a real pleasure to be able to chat with you. And yeah, I've always loved watching you play, man. Like it's always super exciting. And I know that
All right.
I know that there's heaps of others that feel the same. So yeah, thanks so much. And yeah, can't wait to see your next games.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for being here. And yeah, I hope to show good games, I guess.
I think you already have, man. Cool. Awesome. All right, everyone. I think we'll just swap to a quick couple of minute break, and then we'll be back with Hada and Dominic to talk about everything else that's been going on in Immortal. But yeah, thanks so much, and everyone, shout out to Hydra, and much thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming back to watch us for our second part. I've now got Hada and Dominic with me, which is very exciting.
Hey, we're back. What's up, guys?
I think we could do our intro bits if you guys have prepared them. So
I didn't prepare any.
Well, yeah, okay. You got a couple of seconds to think on your feet then, because
right.
I can go. But so this week I am Santa's Orzum Tower hidden in your base, destroying your workers.
I am definitely a bunch of top players hidden in a trench coat trying to figure out what to do about absolvers.
And I'm a double proxy Amber when we thought Aru couldn't proxy. Also Dominic.
Oh wow, you guys did brilliantly having to come up on the spot.
Not too bad, not too bad. We're glad to be back, guys. How's it going? I know we had an awesome interview with Hydra, so Always good to see some top player perspective. But most importantly, Dom, give me some updates. I know we had an awesome break the game event with a pretty awesome losers run as well. So if would love to get a little breakdown from you because it only caught grand finals actually.
Well, I mean, Grand Finals was a massive back and forth, to be honest. That was very much worth catching on its own. The other stuff was largely just upsets, like Santa performing far better than they had been, and mostly just Santa and Scruffy kind of going at it between each other. It surprisingly Mixu getting third place, like Scruffy managing to knock them out, which was a shocker. Because Mixu is probably like second-ish. They're up there for like, yeah, they're before Scruffy won this, Mixu definitely was doing better overall.
Mhm.
But now Scruffy's got more tournament wins and just generally has been playing more tournaments recently, and it clearly paid off. But then the grand finals was really wild. I mean, my little intro thing was actually what happened game 1 with Santa going for proxy double Amberwomb and losing, but it was still a cool thing to have an Aru go proxy off of Bloodwell.
Yeah,
And there was like just
definitely
constant back and forth of weird plays being thrown out there. You got like Thrum Mass for the second game. Third game was Orza Mirror, where both of them went for Proxy Legion Hall. And then it was like the last one was actually just a scrap. But still, it was wild.
I think if there was a player to go for an Aru proxy, it definitely would have been Santi. Mr. Santa Claus definitely is the player to go for that mix-up right there, and I love to see it. And something I was really excited to see, like you said, with the Orzumir, something that I saw the Orzum v Orzum matchup, and was like, oh, it's gonna be, a 50-minute slog, and we're just gonna be pushing into each other's towers over and over and over again. But I did see, contrary to what we saw back in the last alpha trials, which was really pushing the advantage on looking at absolvers, which is still the go-to, I guess, defining unit in your main army. I did see a lot of counterplay with some castigators as well, which I really got excited about.
Yeah, to deal with wardens or scepters coming at you to take out the absolvers. But your comment about the towers is actually very appropriate, because that was the biggest difference between last week's games between Scruffy and Santa and the games prior, where Orza mirrors were going into the 30-40 minute mark and requiring the time limit rule be brought back in, is that Santa and Scruffy weren't focusing on each other's towers. They were going around them. They're finding other routes. They're splitting their armies to hit weak points. Like the towers, okay, the towers are a problem. You don't fight the towers. You fight around the towers. You force your opponent out of position, and then you attack the towers, and their army has been forced to retreat in order to address your run-bys or to address you're attacking their base on the other side of the map. That does a lot of good. It's tricky to pull off, but if you can pull it off, you end up getting you get the full run-by, and you get the damage, and then you get to get rid of the tower and dislodge them from that section of the map.
You know what? Remember that scene from Lord of the Rings where Frodo and Sam are like on that pebble, like stacked hill, and they're looking at like the gate with all of the orcs coming out. They're like, we have to get in there. We have to get past the gate. And Gollum's behind them, like, no, you're gonna die. Don't go over there. And then Gollum takes them towards the back path. That's what that reminded me of. It's like, don't just face check all these towers. Don't try to like go and just go 1v5 million into the orcs. Let's go and find that unbeaten path. Let's go and find that way around and attack on multiple fronts and try to, not play into our enemy's win con.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's how you fight Orzum.
Yeah. I totally agree, and I think like to your intro, Harder, around absolvers as well. I thought one of the things I found really interesting is that we saw a lot more scepter play when folks were running Orzum to help kind of just put pressure on absolvers when we had mirror matchups, and I thought that was super interesting too. Because I think your comment around there's a whole bunch of people trying to figure out how to deal with absolvers is like super on point, and that was one kind of like fascinating way that folks had kind of tackled it a little bit differently than perhaps we'd seen before in the earlier tournaments.
Yeah, it's something that I'm really excited for, and what I'm extra excited for is I think we're in a really good pacing around our events. We do have the consistent break the game tournaments, whether that be rotating 1v1 or 2v2, but we also have, not to toot my Orgzone horn a little bit, we have our second alpha trials coming up around the corner. I
When?
believe we are in final discussions on when that will be coming
Okay.
out and around the corner. I know I'm not in the boardroom per se, but I'd like to stick my ear to the door every once in a while because I'm a caster. I do what I'm told, and I do it when I'm told. So I know that we are finalizing a couple of those dates to make sure that we have an exact idea of when we have our next major, I guess, meta-defining tournament, and that's what we saw in the last alpha trial, where we saw a huge emphasis on the Absolver meta kind of pushing their way in, and again with especially a lot of the changes to Mala and Zol, I think they're going to have a little bit more of a balance around what we see and how our top players are going to push their counterplay against the Immortals on, at least on Orzum's side as well.
Yeah, I love it. Like me and Dom are both just like, Hada, tell us the secrets. tell us. Come on, you want to break it on Talking Teapots.
Yeah, it's, I'm trying to get some notes from our all chat team just to see what's going on. I don't know if we have a direct date yet. I'm asking. So if I can get that in the next 5-10. If not, I'm sure we will have a Twitter release, hopefully in the next week, to make sure we have our next.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of October left.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out. I promise we are trying to figure it out. Hopefully we can get it to you soon.
Yeah, no worries. I think everyone's just super excited, which is a great sign, really. Like, I think it just shows how keen folks are for some of these bigger events. I'm definitely keen to probably put my hat in the ring, maybe in a future one. So that would be fun. We also had some 2v2s today, Dom.
We did. We had a 2v2 show match, best of 5, because nobody signed up. So everyone remember, Break the Game Weekly is every week. We have 1v1s and 2v2s alternating. This week is 2v2. Next week's 1v1. Go and sign up, because if we have sign-ups, we can actually have a proper tournament. But we did have show matches. It was between Waijizu, Mr. Kareem on one team against Santa and Magical on another. And Waijizu and Mr. Kareem took a game off Santa and Magical.
Wow. There you
It was
go.
a best of 5 show match, and
That's crazy,
it was
actually.
3-1. Yeah, Santa and Magical did not win, did not sweep.
Wow.
It was
Okay.
It was a cheese push, double Legion Hall into double Soul Foundry proxy right outside of the rocks in Lost Province, up the ramp of the rocks. And the first game they tried it, and it was only Waijizu that was actually going forward. Mr. Kareem was hanging back, trying to go for economy for the mid game, and there wasn't enough firepower. It wasn't fast enough. Didn't break the rocks quickly enough. So Santa and Magical had their units on the high ground, stopped it dead in its tracks, and then it slowly pushed out. But the second game, Santa saw it coming, but went 3 altar. They went triple altar, trying to go for a bunch of masked hunters to then snipe it out. But the problem is, doing that meant they didn't have a lot to stop coming in. It took a while to build up, and you had, again, 8 Zentari, then another 4 Absolvers on top of that, going up the hill, breaking the rocks, going up the hill. Eventually, it was 6 Absolvers. Yeah, it was 6 Absolvers, 4 Zentari, 6 Apari, up the top of the hill, smashing down the base. Took out Magical's base, took out Santa's base. It was weird because they didn't go for the final killing blow of Magical's natural, but the game was over. By that point, it was their game to lose.
Dang it. A crazy early proxy. I'm going to have to go back and watch that VOD because that sounds absolutely ridiculous. Was it double Legion Hall, double Soul Foundry,
Yep.
just immediately rushing into the natural? What it sounds like 7-8 minutes in. By
7-8 minutes in. It was like 3 or 4 minutes in.
Oh my god!
Have you played
Immortal? Yeah, I'm trying to
fast.
mentally. It's rushing speed apparently. Jesus, but hey, we're having a good time out here. I'm loving to see because I something that at least myself I haven't really dove into 2v2s all that much, and now that I'm thinking about it, I was thinking from a 1v1 perspective. I'm like, okay, how much time do I need to get 2 Legion Halls, 2 Soul Foundries, get enough material, and even get that myself? So about 8-9 minutes on solo,
Well,
but I'm like,
if
wait,
you're-
this is
yeah.
teams. So like, yeah, you kind of
Yeah.
cut that in half, and then if with enough communication, you can shave a couple other
Yeah,
seconds
what is the
off
time
that
to get
and-
one of each? That's what you need to ask yourself in
Yeah.
more of your own perspective.
That's about
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, man, I'm gonna have to get into some 2v2. That sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you have to sign up for the next 2v2 Break the Game, Hannah. We've got to get some more.
Which will be on the
Cartons
22nd. Assume, I mean, depending on when the alpha trials are, but the next one would be the 22nd if that is still weekly.
Ooh,
I
that would be
do-
my birthday, so that'd be fun.
Special birthday tournament for you. I do love that strategy. Sounds like the absolute extension, like the perfect extension of the current meta, which is like no one's really that sure how to
one base
work
Absolver.
against one base. 4 absolvers is quite hard to counter, and then you just lead into it by both of you doing it in a 2v2. Like I feel like that is just like the epitome of where we're at the moment. So that's super funny. I can't wait to watch that. That'll be so good.
It sounds like an absolute joy. So I'm gonna have to, yeah. Ugh, words are hard. So I would love to see something that, at least from me coming from the Melee's community, we have a community calendar with all like you can either break it down by local scene, state scene, national scene, etc. of all the events that are coming up. And I don't know if we have that quite yet for IGP. I think that's something
No. That won't be for a while, probably until beta.
Mhm.
Just it would. I mean, remember right now it's closed alpha, so people getting in, it's a trickle of keys, and yeah, that's it. Like you don't get a lot of people in. You don't have. There aren't enough people to have any kind of regional thing. Also, consider Smash Bros is a local game.
Mhm.
Like the net play for Smash Bros is Melee is fine, but historically has been kind of terrible. And generally you play in person, whereas with Immortal it's online, and the netcode's pretty good. So like regional stuff is all well and good from a like pride perspective, but from a logistical perspective, in terms of what's necessary, it's not going to be. There's not going to be a lot of push for it.
Yeah. I definitely would love to see at least a calendar just to know when events are going on. I know we do have, ideally, we do get a consistent monthly alpha trials as well as get our, continue the break the
the
game
weeklies,
series. And the weeklies are doing great, and which is awesome. But I would love to see at least we can get a more, I don't know if digestible is the right word, but I would love to see at least like either a graphic or something that's like, okay, here's what's happening this month, and then you get one shot, one taste. It's like, okay, sign up for break the game here, alpha trials here, break the game here, etc., etc. If there's a show match this day, it would also help to.
The show
increase
matches
viewership as well.
are tournaments that people didn't sign up for. Like the show matches are literally just because we had a tournament, but not enough people signed up for it, so we're just gonna have the people who did sign up play a match.
Yeah.
And call it a show match. That is entirely face saving. Like I peek behind the curtain. That is not intentional. It's supposed to be a 2v2 tournament, but the last 2 2v2 tournaments have had so few signups that we've just made it a show match.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We definitely need to boost up the 2v2s. I think that'll be good. And then maybe we can actually set up some show matches just for fun. Like just to do some fun.
Yeah, sure. Like in the
matchups
middle of the
between
week or
people.
something.
But yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I agree.
I would love to like get like a pro-am or something 2v2. So like me myself, I'm very amateur. I need to get a lot better at this game.
Oh yeah, that would
if
be
I
really
could
cool.
just get like magical to carry my useless behind to a win, that would be really enjoyable. and I
Oh,
would
absolutely.
love
I'd love for there to be enough people that having random exhibition matches on top of the tournaments is a thing.
Yeah.
Just we don't have that at the moment. At the moment, we have too few people signing up for tournaments to have regular 2v2 tournaments without them half the time becoming exhibition matches.
Yeah.
Which is just a matter of like, it's an alpha, it's closed alpha, and it hasn't really gotten polished up to the point that it's really like cute. It's gotten presentable, but it's like there's a long way to go. So you just kind of, like I said, I expect with beta it's going to be a fair bit more. Well, it's easier to get into, and it'll have a lot more marketing behind it by that point, and there'll just be more people, and also more people, more immortals. There'll be. Well, that's all I really know. But even on top of that, like that's going to be the extra polish and extra content. That's still going to draw people in.
Yeah.
And it's just as the game grows, as there's more content, it's gonna bring more hands to the keyboard. It's gonna
Well,
bring
more
hands to
importantly,
the
it's going to
mouse, etc.
keep them here.
Exactly.
Because like right now we have Orzum being kind of like they're doing a thing, and it's a very strong thing to do.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, if I don't want to play a Orzum mirror, then I have to play Aru.
Exactly.
Whereas with Morkana, it's like, oh, I can play Jorah, and Jorah might have other options that Aru might struggle with, where Jorah doesn't have a struggle with this thing while we're waiting on whatever next patch is going to tweak things. Or, as I mentioned before, if transports are in, then that adds a whole new dynamic, which makes the issues that we're seeing right now become less of a problem overall. So, like, it's more the retention when it comes to having strategies that just break the game thoroughly enough that people don't want to play for a while.
Yeah.
Because then
And
you
I
fix
think
those and people come back and it's fine.
Yeah, in most esports and most games that get to the point where competitive, like the playing for fun or playing for excitement is then suddenly outweighed by playing a tried and true strategy to win. For example, when the Overwatch League was overrun by the GOATS meta. So when I guess Brigitte, I think was what the champion or hero's name
Brigitte?
was.
Yeah.
Brigitte, yeah, yes. I that whole strategy of turbo defensive play, death ball of defense, what completely made the enjoyment of Overwatch go out the window for the sake of winning. And if we're at the point
Ugh.
now, I'm glad we're getting to the point now in Alpha where we're seeing that where Orzum is now, yes, it is a solid strategy. It is a working theory and it is a working concept of what defensive play can look like and what macro play introduced to Orzum's kit can push a defensive, fortress, push the meta and push push your influence into your opponent's territory and choke them out slowly. Is it exciting? Is it flashy? Absolutely not. Is it a perfect execution of what Orzum's character is probably being designed to look like? Looks like absolutely. But in alpha, that what we're learning is, and I think that's what alpha and beta is for, is this healthy for the game? And because we don't have the amount of options and we don't have enough content as of right now to truly explore it from as a player base or as a or from a I guess exploratory perspective, we don't have the time or the resource in which to develop enough counterplay as quickly. But once we get 3, 4, 5, 6 more immortals and a ton more units and abilities and maps and counter picks and counter play, I don't think inherently, even if Orzum weren't even to be changed or balanced much more going forward, I think we would have enough content in which to develop our own counterplay and the player base to develop their own counterplay, given enough time and given enough content.
Yeah, and especially again, if this is probably the worst it'll get because transports once they come in significantly weaken the strategy.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone is like this is probably the most oppressive that the Orzum approach will be.
Mm-hmm.
And then so like this is slightly annoying but manageable.
Exactly.
So that it's slightly annoying but manageable, and it's set to be far easier to counter. I think it speaks volumes for how the state of the game is quite healthy.
Yes.
I agree. I think it's only gonna get more exciting from here. Is basically where I end up. I think. Cool. So I think that's kind of the tournament news. I'm really excited to go back and watch the 2v2s now. Like I think that's super good. In terms of game updates, it's been pretty light the last couple of weeks. We've kind of got the concept for a 1v1 map, which is super interesting, but not can't quite play test yet. I'm super keen to actually give that a go once we can actually play test it, because proper 1v1 maps will be amazing. And then we've had a couple of community events as well. I think there was a fireside chat with Dylan. And then we're back to 1v1s in the BTG next weekend. So
that's right. So do sign up. Go to the Immortal Discord. I don't know if you have the Discord like bot thing in your chat.
I will check. I think I do.
All right.
But guys, definitely something that would.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
I know a lot of people are, really like hanging out, waiting for news from the next alpha trials. I know we got a lot of great feedback. Something that does go a long way, and this isn't, I'm trying not to sell out too hard, but All Chat as an organization comes from the competitive Smash Brothers Melee community, and we do have from our organization heads a lot of fond memories in the RTS community, and we were really excited to start working with Sunsphere and with the greater IGP community as a whole. If you guys want to, in a like, I guess, show your excitement for Alpha Trials 2, it goes a long way. Just follow All Chat on Twitter. Follow All Chat on Twitch. It's at All Chat Esports, and just tweet at us. Tweet at the All Chat team. Be like, hey, I'm from the IGP community. We loved what you guys did last time.
When's Alpha Trials?
Yeah.
Alpha Trials. When's Alpha Trials? You can yell at us. When is Alpha Trials 2? We want to know. We want to play. We want another big monthly with dope keyboards given out to the community. When is the next event? So even if you're just screaming into the void, what it seems like we do check our notifications, we check our followers, and we would love to get some more love towards the team, because I know we had such a good time running the last one, and we're really excited to run the next one as well.
Yeah. So I think that's a clear call to action, guys. We need to spam the All Chat Twitter account. So everyone spam.
We also have our own personal Twitters too. We might want to shout out while we're plugging.
Sure. I think just on that though, when we're tweeting All Chat, it needs to be, hey, Hatter promised us that there would be another Alpha Trials, that it was going to be in October. Like, what's going on, guys?
This is why Seamus is really mum about everything.
I know we're going through. I think there's a little bit of negotiation and discussion on the back end that I'm not involved with, so I cannot make any certain calls to action. But what I do know is a community can always make their voice heard through social media. So at All Chat Esports on Twitter, go yell at us. It's fine. You can name drop me if you need to, but if you follow me, I will be okay with you name dropping me and making obscene remarks that, Hada promised me his firstborn son and Alpha Trials 2. So I need you guys to make that happen.
Get Hada a firstborn son.
I think that's the hashtag, right? Oh, awesome. Well, I think
good time, guys.
Any other final thoughts, guys? Otherwise we can wrap up. And
no, I think we're good. So yeah, I'll just close out. So you can catch me. I usually do the weeklies on my Twitch channel at Dominant Casts, and there's also my Twitter at Dominant Casts, which is mostly just talking about the Twitch stuff. I will occasionally tweet or retweet other things. I am not good at Twitter, so I don't know. If you have suggestions, please let me know. Maybe I can get better at Twitter. But yeah, at Dominant Casts, Twitch and Twitter, and then ShadowFury63 on YouTube.
Awesome. What about you, Hada?
I'm at Hey Hada on Twitch and Twitter. I haven't been streaming much. I just started a new job. So I'm working from home, which is great. So I'm actually looking at 6 monitors almost all day, which is great.
Like
I have my own
3x2.
I have 3 and 3. So it's like 3 on my personal and 3 on my work. So which is
okay. I use a KVM switch just to use the same 3 monitors for both, but cool.
Man, that would have been smart. But now I have I look like I'm connected.
Well, see, two of my monitors I got from the office when we started working from home.
See, here I am with 2 monitors, and there's Yolanda playing on his 24-inch monitor, totally pantsing us. So, like, there you go.
Yeah, it's like I'm over here. It looks like I'm connected to Skynet, and I'm about to take over the world. Hack into the U.S. Embassy or something. But what I've been doing a lot recently, I don't know if anyone's into this, but I've been playing a lot of RuneScape recently. Been trying to, on the new Fresh Start Worlds, get in the top rank for the Slayer skill. So that's what I've been doing a lot recently. So if you're into that, great. Also, I play a lot of Smash as well on my streams, so Smash Melee. So if you're into that sort of thing, or if you just want to chat with me on socials, I'm always connected. So tell me jokes. At me on whatever, I'm having a good time. But hit me up on my socials, and I will be casting the next Alpha Trials. I'm sure Dom will be there as well. And please continue to support the pod.
I would love to.
Every other week.
I mean, I certainly want to, but it's not up to me.
Awesome. I think I'm so excited. Yeah. And of course, obviously, you're watching on the Twitch channel right now. If you're watching live, Otherwise, this Talking Teapots will be out on podcast services near you shortly once I get my act together and edit stuff. And you can find me at Team Outfoxed on the various social things. I see YJZoo, you did ask to see our setups in the chat, so like whoever's keen, I'll throw a photo in the Discord. You can have a look at my jankety off desk setup.
It's like
Here we go, nice.
There's my soundproofing. There's my one of 3 monitors, and then there's my
actually, it might be easier
workstation
too.
over
Kind of
there.
think for me.
And there's a sleeping cat in the thing. Oh, I
Wow.
can hear a cat. That's not my cat.
not
That's
all
someone
of them are
else's
sleeping.
cat.
That's my
Yeah, we heard cat. My cat's asleep, but your cat is like, yo, we're talking cats right now. That's crazy.
He's been yelling at me for the last 5 minutes. If you're wondering why I've been a little bit keen to end the stream, it's partly because it's like I need to figure out what Andre needs.
Oh, I was about to say, what's the name? Andre is an amazing name for a cat. Can we meet Andre, Dominic?
My cat's name is Breakfast.
No, I'm
Okay,
sorry. He
all
just
right.
walked out of the room.
All right, photos later.
I named him that way because he looks like Andre the blacksmith from Dark Souls. So,
Oh, dude.
all right. So as for setup, it's like, actually, I should turn off the green screen filter. So, green screen because green screen. It's kind of all over, so I'm a little bit packed in. Sound treatment is the blue bit, and then there's my monitors, which I can't really show you in. Maybe I can get this off. All right, this is gonna suck for me later, but whatever. So, tour of the office. Once the webcam just has to cooperate. All right. So yeah, there is the setup. Monitor, microphone, monitor. Hey Hada, hey Hada's cat. Key light, fill light.
She like
Backlight.
She's usually like so squirmy, so she's chilling right now,
And-
which is crazy.
My weird ass keyboard,
Dude, that is a crazy keyboard.
and also my Acron Magic shape that uses a mousepad.
Wow. Dude, that is a
'Cause
nice
I don't know-
setup.
Thanks. And then my compressor and preamp. And more sound treatment. And also more sound treatment in the back. I built these sound treatment panels with my dad, so he has them. Well, he had them for himself, but now he's rebuilt his own setup completely. Like added an addition to the house level of rebuilt the setup. So yeah, my parents have now got an extra 400 square feet, and my dad has a more proper studio because he uses it professionally. Like for film and such.
Wow, cool.
He is a sound dude. Professional sound mixer. Anyway, that's enough about me.
No wonder you're so good at the sound stuff, though, man.
It helps to have someone to talk to who knows what they're doing. That always helps in any capacity, in any field.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like just being able to ask him questions. That has been super handy. Also helps much for learning, for singing and such. How to use my voice properly. Because he is a very good singer.
Oh, cool. I feel like we're gonna have to do an interview episode with you at some point, Dom. I'm just putting that on the cards now. It's like you need to do interview.
All right. I mean, sure. I'm nothing special, but sure if you want to.
Oh, whatever. I don't believe it. But yeah, we'll save that for another time. But Hada, I feel like we're burying the lead. What is the name of the cat?
Oh, my cat's name is Breakfast.
Breakfast.
I did not name the cat, but this is Breakfast Cat. She never behaves this well. She's never been this snuggly with me. So I'm really just reveling in the moment. So like I lovingly refer to her as my stepcat because it was my girlfriend's cat. She was my girlfriend's cat before we started dating. And she's just really.
Oh,
just
right.
snuggly
Did you say
right
you were?
now.
Are you dating or you say you're engaged?
I like to say we're engaged. We're like mentally engaged, but I can't afford a $1.8 thousand ring right now.
Fair enough.
It's one of those things where like
1.8.
It's-
I've never heard it
yeah.
phrased that way. Normally it's at 1800, but okay.
it's I don't know. She has expectations.
I just like that. I like that it's
fair.
that. I like that it's that precise too, Hada. Like it's not just like $1,000 or $2,000 ring. It's
No,
like 1.8.
I have one in
man.
mind. I have one in mind. So
Oh, that's so nice.
we're having a good time all around. But yeah, I have a puppy too, but he's with the Miss over helping in the kitchen right now, and so the cat has loved hanging out in the office. Because we moved the cat tree in here, and she's been so good right now, and I love this.
Yeah, mine has a bed that he sleeps in on the side desk on the credenza. Normally looks out the window, but the window blinds are closed because of the lighting. And also he's in the closet. He's been feeling ill lately,
Oh.
having like bowel issues and coughing a lot, and I've got to the bowel issues I got sorted out, but the coughing is now another issue. I got to figure out what's going on with that.
That sucks, man. It's nothing worse than when pets are sick. We've got 2 doggos,
Well, yeah.
which I'll find some photos of for the Discord. But yeah,
Everyone, tweet your pets at me and at all chat and say me and my pet all want Alpha Trials too, and then we're good to go.
Love it. I think that's even better. I will do that, Hannah. I'll help start
Under
us off.
protest.
Oh, hello.
Oh, wait, I can't. It doesn't look good with the filter on. My bad.
Me and my animal are all upset that we do not have Alpha Trials 2 on
Meow.
the schedule yet.
Oh,
fluffy cat.
hello.
Fluffy
He is
cat.
giant kitty.
Yay.
He is also not really having it right now. I'm sorry, but I'll give you treats afterwards. Thank you very much for being a performer.
Oh, cutie.
Hey.
I think we need to. That might be a new thing we add on to our interviews. Like, if you have a pet, you got to bring the pet on.
That'd be dope.
I will give you treats.
I'll have the dog on our next podcast in 2 weeks, so we'll bring the puppy on.
Awesome.
Okay.
So you guys have to follow the stream.
Oh wait,
and
I feel
follow
like
us on
I'm an idiot.
socials
I have an
to know
emote of
when
my
the
cat's
dog is
face
coming.
already. I could have just put the emote in chat.
Love it.
That literally was just a picture of my cat's
follower emote.
face.
I think mine's a follower emote only, so
Mine
I
is too,
can't
but
post it.
I'm a follower of myself. It turns out.
Ooh,
Also a subscriber.
nice.
I'm a tier 3 subscriber to myself. It turns out.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? Twitch is weird that way.
It is
That's
weird that way.
crazy.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much.
All right.
I do think maybe we should pivot to like just pet streams, but like that's a whole nother thing. But
Andre
thank
won't
you.
have it. He likes being a lap cat on his own terms, but he's not. He wants food and or water or something right now, and I need to go deal with that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks, Hada and Dom, for coming on and chatting about Immortal. It's been super fun. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. Let us know any feedback. And yeah, we'll have podcasts and stuff out fairly soon for those who want to listen to it in your ear holes. And yeah, until then, we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.